Word up, word up. We are officially live. What's going on, y'all? My name is Jay Faith, and this is Right Mind Wednesdays, where we sit down and just have a conversation with people and just learn from their experiences and how we can get better at what it is that we're doing. Just having conversations about life and how we can just grow together through conversations. Make sure you follow us on, we got YouTube, we have Instagram. We are also posting our all of our conversations on Spotify, SoundCloud, as well as Apple Podcasts. So make sure if you've missed this episode live here today, that you check it out on all streaming services as well, where you get your podcasts. Um, I'm super excited. We have another amazing guest with us today. Goes by the name of Josh Kenani. Kenani, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Not much. How was your day going so far?
It's going pretty good. It's a little rainy over here, but doing what we can. Did a little bit of stuff at home. I'm on vacation now, so just trying to kick back and relax and enjoy it. How about you?
I stayed in all day. Was playing some video games. I'm on the East Coast right now. It actually rained a little.
Okay.
Yeah,
What part of the East Coast you at?
Massachusetts.
Hometown. That's what's up. Okay, I got you.
Wait, where in Massachusetts you're from?
So I'm from Lowell.
Lowell. Okay.
Whereabouts? What about you? Where are you currently residing?
Right now I'm in Bellerica.
Dude, you're like 20 minutes from me.
I know.
I work right down there. My church is right down there. That's dang, you like right around the corner, man. We should have just met up for this.
We should do another one just in case, depending on how this goes actually. But I'm actually interested in having more conversations about other things besides from just art.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. We can definitely do that. I'm totally down with that. For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Um so how long have you so let me start with this just because you just mentioned it. So you're currently like hanging out on the East Coast. Is that something you do? Because if I remember correctly, you're from Colorado, right?
Okay. Not really, but
Okay.
kinda. So
Okay.
um like I'm actually based in Massachusetts.
Okay.
I don't have like a place where I'm like actually like staged where I'm like, all right, this is home. It's more like this is where I want to be, and this is where I just pick up and go type of thing. So it's either here or Colorado, and that's like home number two type of thing. But I grew up here in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
I
Got you.
went to middle school and high school here. I went to I went to middle school in Newton,
Okay.
and I partly went to high school in Newton, and also went to the other half of high school in Waltham.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that been as far as kind of the get up and go kind of thing? Because that's different for me to hear as somebody who's literally been born and raised in Massachusetts and really never planted seeds in any other place as far as I'm living. How has that been like for you as far as just kind of the freedom to be able to go back and forth?
Um, I'd say it's something you have to get used to. It's not really easy at the first time when you start doing it. If it's a thing that you eventually start doing like repeatedly,
Mm-hmm.
but after a while you kind of get used to it, and you just kind of do it. Like like I'm in a position where I'm like actually forced to.
Okay.
It's not really like sometimes. Actually, the first time I moved, I kind of didn't have an option. I had to go, and
Mm.
I got used to it. I was like, well, that wasn't that bad. I'm okay with just kind of dropping whatever it is that is going on, and kind of like just it's all about my career. It's kind of cliche to say my career, but it's like
Yeah.
I try to emotionally stay tuned in with what it takes to get where I want to be with my photography. And
Mm-hmm.
if that means that I need to, you know, pick up everything and kind of just be somewhere for a while, I'm willing to do that. And that comes from like a skill that I somewhat I would say it's a skill, like, emotionally detaching yourself from things that are not really like pushing you forward, if that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's easier for me to do that. I would say that's like that is the one skill that I would call it that allows me to be able to do that. It's like if I feel like it's gonna help for me to go somewhere else than be somewhere things are not happening, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to surround yourself with things that are one, going to inspire you, two, are going to motivate you in whatever it is that you're doing. So, I mean, it totally makes sense for you to, try to find those things. And even if it's not in, the current place that you live, like especially with photography, especially with music, eventually at some point you're going to have to expand out of, your comfort zone, if you will, to find what it is that is really going to take you to where you want to go.
That's that's definitely a thing, but one of the important things I would say, at least for what I do personally,
Hmm.
the thing that I've noticed about being an artist is that any kind of artist, it's a solo journey. Like you can't really count on other people pulling through for it to happen. And even that in itself, like eventually you'll meet you'll meet other people that'll help you advance in whatever it is that you're doing, but you have to kind of get used to doing things on your own for you to be able to meet the people that are actually going to be there when you need them. At the
Mm.
beginning stages of whatever it is that you're doing, it's just it has to be you. It's not that it's not that you want to, but it has to be you in order for you to actually see if you really want to do this, because it's like you either are looking for validation or support. It could be whatever it is that you're looking for, but
Hmm.
you need to actually make choices on your own without any input from the outside world.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that.
And uh I, don't, I had a point that I was actually trying to make. I forgot.
You're good.
I'm
You're
so
good.
sorry. I'm so sorry about
You're
that.
good.
But anyways, we can talk about I can talk about like how I would say photography.
Mm.
So originally photography wasn't like a thing that I always like knew that I was going to do.
Hmm.
It kind of just slowly happened, and it's the first thing that I actually ever tried in my life where I felt like I could be good at something that did not require. I'm not claiming that I'm good, but it's something that I felt good. Something that I actually felt good doing, and I didn't feel like anybody actually had to tell me that I was good enough. I was enjoying it enough to the point that I was not looking for validation. So I was like, all right, this has to be the thing. Like
Hmm.
like I see it's I started off taking some photos on the iPhone here and there, and you buy your first camera, and then you start watching tutorials. Before you know it, you're buying lenses, more cameras,
Hmm.
watching more tutorials, getting subscriptions for editing software, and it kind of just like takes off, and it just kind of you just get consumed in actually whatever it is that you're doing. But the hardest part about the whole process is trying to find inspiration and doing things like that feel original. But when you're learning to do anything, you can't really make anything original. You kind of copy other people. You try to replicate something. Like you try to
Hmm.
make it your own, but at the end of the day, realistically, you are kind of you're learning. So I think you get some sort of a pass. All right, it's like, all right, you're starting out, so try to replicate something. All right, if I can replicate this, then I can learn how to make something that I actually like. So you waste a lot of time at the beginning. And you have to. You can't really skip it. You waste a lot of time like trying so many things that you end up not liking, but it's not really a waste of time. And in the end, it's not a waste of time because you you actually learn things. You take over the time you get inspiration from whatever photographer or songwriter, whatever it is that whatever art you're making, and over the time you just kind of bring those pieces together and kind of make your own thing.
No, that makes. I mean, it makes sense. You gotta try. You gotta learn what's not gonna work for you. You gotta learn what's gonna work for you, and then that's when you start to kind of fit it into your own mold, and eventually start, like you said, like you have pieces of things that you've taken, but then now you're kind of formatting it into what your vision is as well,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
it does make a lot of sense. So right now, another thing that I'm working on a photo book,
Hmm.
something that I'm really excited about. and I've not really told people exactly what it is because I have friends and people that follow me, a few people that are actually interested in buying the book. And I always tell people that I'm actually making this book for the artist. I'm making this book for someone like me, someone that actually is looking for some sort of direction. I'm not necessarily saying that this is going to tell you this is what you're going to do to get here to here, but I feel like I have some knowledge that I can share to somebody that is getting into like photography,
Hmm.
where it could help them not really necessarily skip steps, but kind of like be more productive. That's what it is. You can't really skip anything. You just have to, you know, you can go through things quicker, but you can't skip them. The process of learning how to, like, from, well, before you even get to the art, it's like there's a lot of things that go on in the background, like taking care of yourself emotionally, mentally, and all that. There's all those things.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. And all the way to at least where I will be by the time the book is over, because I don't want to tell people things that I've not done before, right? Like I want to share knowledge that I have, things that I've actually done that have worked for me. But I do advise that you take whatever it is that you get from this book and kind of follow your path. Like I'm not necessarily telling you like this is what you should do, but this is what I did, and it's somewhat of an example that can help you kind of like strengthen your belief in your craft.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Can you, so for those that are less informed like myself, like
yeah.
what is the difference between a photo book that you're creating and say like just like a regular book?
Okay, so a photo book, it's basically a book with photos. That's pretty much it. And a lot of photographers, they basically make a body of work that they're very happy with, and they put it out, and people buy it. That's pretty much it. It's just
Okay.
beautiful. So, like, based off of whatever it is they do, they could be a lifestyle photographer, a wedding photographer, or landscape photographer, and they just like whatever their niche is, they kind of just make a body of work, print, and try to ship it to the people that like their work.
Hmm.
That's something that I could do, but I felt like it would be a little too like I like to write. I don't really put my work out there like that. It's just like I kind of do it for for myself. I don't really put my work out there. But I had this feeling where I was like, well, I have a lot of things that have inspired me to do things that I've done over the time,
Hmm.
and I have made some big mistakes. I have,
As we all. Yep.
yeah, I have made some calls that just happened to work out, but it wasn't really intended. And it's all these things that have happened on the journey, over the last 5 years, that I feel like it would be very useful to anybody that is starting to make, I would say, something to do with art. It doesn't have to be photography. It could be video. It could be anything to do with art. I feel like it could help you strengthen like your belief in what you're doing, because you do need a lot of that. It's like when you're starting out doing, I would say for me, when you're starting out to be a photographer, whatever it is, right? Like nobody knows you. You're just in this little corner of the world by yourself, and you don't really, like your family and the people that care about you, your friends, they will give you advice and ask you if you really want to do exactly what you're doing, and you have to make time to do it. And of course, the beginning, you really are not making any money. And I think we as society have wired people to gravitate towards something that is making money, if that makes sense.
Oh,
like
100%.
like
Absolutely.
if something is not getting you paid, it's deemed not to be worth spending time on, or towards, I would say. But if you want to make music, I don't make music, but music is art. I think actually music is the only like type of art that actually relies on people actually like responding, because you have to connect with people. Same thing applies to
Yeah.
photography in a way, but with photography it's like you kind of it's easier for you to tell. It's like you kind of like put something out there, and it can mean anything to anybody. with music, you have more
True.
control over what you're doing. It's like
Hmm.
you know, like, all right, here is a song. You can listen to it, and you're like, all right, this is a breakup song about somebody going, whatever it is, right? It's like
Hmm.
storytelling in songs is a lot easier than it is in like in other types of art. So video on. I keep on forgetting. There's. I'm always trying
It's
to make a.
cool. It's
I'm always trying to
good.
make a point. I swear, but
Yeah, holding out on me a little bit.
yeah, I kind of go on like
No, you're
I kind
good.
of go on a little longer than I probably should, but I do want to help like new people, specifically with photography. If you're trying to learn how to, I'm not going to be able to tell you like this is how you should edit because it's all like personal preference and whatever it is
Mm,
that you're doing. But there's a lot of like things, as I said, like taking care of yourself, helping, like knowing, like kind of like understanding your own journey as a person. Like, all right, like this worked for this person, but that doesn't mean if it's not worked for me, doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You kind of have to
mhm,
go on, you kind of have to like keep yourself together like at all times, preparing for moments when they actually, like the moments that you're waiting for. Because I've had times where I've had like really big moments that were supposed to happen, but I was not really prepared for them, and it
mhm,
kind of got me upset. And it happens all the time. But I would say like in the last 2 years ish, I have actually like utilized the opportunities that I've actually that I've gotten, because I have over the time I have put together like a list of things that I want to do and how I want to go about doing them,
mhm.
and I have been ready for those opportunities. I've actually like prepared myself for those opportunities before they happened, and when they actually just arrived, I was like, all right, I'm ready.
It's good. I mean, it's goal setting. That's really what it is, and it's knowing where you are and your skill level to be like, okay, I know exactly where I'm at, and I know what I'm ready for, and you know, I think I firmly believe if there's things that you want, you put it out there, they'll definitely come, especially when you're taking the time to prepare yourself for it.
That's that's very very important. Like more than I actually expected it to be, because I have something that I'll talk about like later on in the conversation. Probably by far the biggest thing that has happened for me this and like this entire time I've been doing photography.
Hmm.
But it's specifically about that. It's about preparing for the moment, and how the whole thing happened, and it happened when I wasn't really expecting it, and I thought about how all the things wouldn't have made sense and how upset I would have been if the opportunity actually arrived when I wasn't ready.
Mm.
So, what else would you like to explore outside of me talking about how much I want to help new artists to strengthen their belief in their craft?
No, that's really dope, man. Because like, as I was listening, I'm just processing everything and just really honestly like embracing it, because it's literally everything that embodies what right mind is
Yeah,
as a brand and a concept. Because I put, not to get too much into myself, but I put together right mind because we focus on fitness, financial help, mental health, and music, which were all things that I've had obviously had contact with in my life, some struggles with in my life, which I'm sure most people have had struggles with at least one of those in their lives. And I wanted to be able to provide a platform that allowed people to speak to people like you who can provide information on how they can get better, get through those types of situations and get better. So it's it's just cool. Like I'm like in like right mind heaven right now as far as listening to what you're saying. So it's super dope. Um
I honestly wish I had something like this at the beginning of me doing photography, because you do need some sort of like reference towards, for whatever it is that you're doing, and you need to kind of No, not necessarily what it takes, but kind of like learning about other people's journey, about whatever it is that they're doing and how they went about, you know, fixing things that were broken and making the journey a little bit smoother. It's never smooth, but
Hmm.
sometimes you need some sort of stability. And I honestly I did like I didn't really like I idolized a lot of people at the beginning of like me doing photography, and I feel like that really ruined it for me for like the first like 2 years. Like it really ruined like everything for me because I was trying so hard to be like everybody, like people that I looked up to,
Hmm.
and like my work was inconsistent and everything was just off. But over the time, I did find other podcasts that I listened to, and I looked into like things that kind of helped me like mentally and emotionally kind of like get myself together, because like once you have yourself together, like it's like things get a little bit better. Like you're not you're not really too stressed out, or you're not overthinking things. You kind of just think about, all right, I feel like I should go do this, and then you go do it. Or like if you're emotionally not in the right place or mentally not in the right place, it's just you can't, like everything just feels like it's taking too long or forever or not worth the time.
Hmm.
And I really do wish I had something like this for me, like on those first 2 years when I was doing photography. It would have been really helpful, like learning from other people and like just like listening. Like inspiration comes from like anywhere. That's what I believe. Like somebody's story, like it could be, I don't know, I don't make music, but I'm inspired by music, like movies, like a lot of other parts of like art that are not photography.
Yeah, it's all art. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even as a hip hop artist, I find inspiration in tons of different places. I mean, I draw, I do graffiti. Obviously, I like to take pictures. I'm not like a avid photographer by any means, but I do enjoy taking pictures, working out,
Yeah.
things like that. There's so many places that you can find inspiration. It's it's crazy. Like the world is a canvas that you can literally pull inspiration from.
That is true, but beyond being inspired, you have to go actually and like do it.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
that's
that's
that's like
the
it takes a little bit. That's it takes a little bit more than just being inspired. That's
Mhm.
the thing. It's like that's where like like being mentally and emotionally in the right place. That's what allows you to go do it. Like, all right, I'm inspired now. Like, but I don't feel good today. uh, I'm not
Yeah.
really, yeah, exactly. 'Cause that's like, it's super, super important. Like, I underestimated like how much of a toll it would take, like it would take to just basically just to go do things. Like, I thought, like, well, after I'm inspired to do something, I will just pick up my camera and go shoot some stuff, and I will see what happens. But I went through like a really, 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 really hard time. Like, I didn't really know, like I was not prepared at all. Like everybody online makes things look a lot easier than they really are.
Oh, 100%.
It's not that they intend to, but it's like when you see somebody that has been doing something for a while, they can just basically tell you, like right now, like I could just tell a new photographer, like, hey, just be in a better place emotionally and mentally, and find inspiration and go like do it. But it's better said than done, and like people underestimate that. Like that was me. Like I watched so many people. I was like, well, they can do it, I can do it. And there are a lot of things that I didn't really think would be that bad, but like the first thing that I was really not prepared for was being financially unstable for like a prolonged period of time.
Yep.
In that is, it's very difficult, like super, 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 super difficult. But over the time, you kind of, okay, you adjust your lifestyle and understand, this is how much money I can make doing this and my side jobs or whatever it is that you're doing. And you adjust, and that helps you mentally, right? If you don't readjust your lifestyle and you just kind of, throwing money away, I would say it stresses you out because you can't afford to actually like to live. Like you need rent, you need food, all those
Right.
things. It could stress you out so much, but over the time, you figure it out. You adjust your life, you adjust your lifestyle. You know, another thing I would actually like to say is like it's hard for you to actually settle for other things that don't do any that have nothing to do with what you're working on
Yeah.
when you're starting to do it, because for you, like when you're starting to like do it, it's like, all right, this is what I want to do and do it full time, and like I want to be paid, I want to like this is what my life should be like. And realistically, it's not going to be like that. And the best advice that I can give to people that are starting out to do like photography, I'm not going to give advice to other artists, like other genres of art, because I don't do it, but I would assume it could be somewhat similar, is like nothing is actually like no job is beneath you, like when you actually are chasing your thing, right?
Yes.
If you have to go work a minimum job, like if the only thing you can find is like, all right, I'm gonna go work at, I don't know, Wendy's or whatever, I don't know, whatever it is they can find, right?
Yeah.
Whatever's accessible to you, like if that's what it's going to take for you to be able to actually have the time to do your thing, you should do it. And I mean, you have to, because if you don't, you'll slowly run out of money, and you're going to stress yourself out, and everything's going to fall off, and you're just going to end up wasting a lot of time, and it's not going to be fun for you, and you'll probably end up quitting because you're not emotionally in the right place, you're financially unstable, and all the other problems that you did not have before you made the decision to do whatever it is that you're doing. So if you want it bad enough, go do whatever it is that you need to do to support yourself to be able to do like whatever it is that you're doing. At least that's what I believe, and that's what has personally worked for me. It's like you have to make the time, and you know in order for you to make the time, you have to put other things off maybe. And this feels kind of hypocritical that I say that you have to make time, but because I have a lot of time, or I had a lot of time at the beginning, but I kind of chose to do other things that I was already doing in my daily life,
Hmm.
and I was not adjusting. So it's like there's also that thing. It's like you have to adjust your entire lifestyle towards that thing that you're doing. You have to commit. Like you have to actually like commit to doing it. You can't half-ass it and do it every once in a while. I mean, at the end of the day, it's gonna be like you will know where you kind of messed up. You're gonna look at yourself and be like, well, what is it? Like why am I not getting better at this thing? Okay, I spend a lot of time doing this thing that is not really helping me get to this. So it's either you cut it out or you cut down the time on that. You have to adjust your whole life if you want to chase any sort of like artistic dream, I would call it.
You really do. I mean, you almost have to treat it like almost like if you already have a job, like you almost have to treat it like another part-time job.
Yeah.
And then that's where those things start to almost diminish where, I know we talked off air, you like to play video games, I like to play video games, I like to draw, I like to go work out. Well, now I have to adjust my schedule. I can't play video games as much as I would like to because I need to devote my time into making music.
Hold on, my friends were getting a little loud. Can you actually
You're
stick?
good.
Okay. So another thing I would like to touch on is, besides from like making time
Hmm.
to do like whatever it is that you're doing, is I don't really know exactly how to like phrase it, but it's something to do with like your surrounding as a person. Like
Mm.
that is like the most like basic way to say it. Like you kind of have to surround yourself with like the best way I can explain it, like as a photographer, for me, like what it means to be a photographer. Like when I say I'm a photographer or I want to be a photographer, it's not necessarily like making like art. It's more like I want to be around people like me. Like that's what I want. Like
Mm. Yeah,
I,
yeah.
creating a space where like it's not just me, but I mean I'm a part of like a community. Like people that are working towards something that I am, and it makes me feel like I'm collectively working towards something because I can learn from them, they can learn from me, and it helps you save time too, in a way where like
Mhm.
this person did this and it didn't really work for them. It's also like it's like you can make the choice. It's like, okay, well, this is why it didn't work for them. That way when you choose to do whatever it is that they did, you know why it didn't work out, so you can choose to go about it a different way. And if that doesn't work out for you as well, somebody else from the same community can know, well, if I choose to go that route, I know not to do this and that because it didn't work that way for those people. But it doesn't necessarily mean don't do it. It helps you understand how to overcome those problems when they actually happen.
Mm. That makes a lot of sense. That's what I think people miss the mark sometimes is they think, oh, because it didn't work for one person,
Yeah.
that it doesn't work for anybody. And it's like, no, they may just have gone about it the wrong way.
Yeah.
And now that you know their process, you
Yeah.
can avoid that detour and try or just try something else and see, if there is another path or if, that is the end all be all of how to do said thing.
That's definitely like the best way to explain it. What are your opinions on, like, at least for me as a photographer, it's like, okay, like posting photos on like social media is very, like, at least for the last 3 years for me, was like an important thing, and that was like your portfolio, and like
Hmm.
everything like your work was, that was like the way for you to show people your work, right? But I kind of like how things have kind of fallen off on Instagram. It has actually helped me at like I feel like I have been in a much better place, like mentally, after Instagram kind of like just chose to go like with like videos and reels and stuff like that. That's not what I do, but it has kind of thrown off the algorithm so hard to the point that people don't really care enough that it actually allows me to actually just do things without caring so much about the outcome of things.
Yeah, 100%. I had this conversation with somebody else, um, not on the show, but it kind of goes with what you're saying, and I'll relate it to music. Is that people nowadays we are such a people with such a short attention span that as soon as something comes in to, we'll say, line of sight, they're already waiting for the next thing to come in. So the people, again, speaking music, they understand that music is has such a short attention span, so they're creating music that is for the short attention span instead of making music that is creating longevity. So I mean, I definitely agree with you because even for myself, as far as music, I would rather take my time, not be posting. I know for me, I don't post all the time as much as I used to, just because, especially that whole algorithm thing.
Yeah.
But then also, people's attention spans are so short, they're gonna double tap and then move on to the next thing that's in their feed, not really caring about what I'm posting in a sense, other than a double tap.
Give me a
So
second.
yeah, you're good.
All right, I'm back.
All good, all good. So yeah, so I mean, even for myself, I don't post as much just because I would rather, when I do deliver something, like I want it to be something that can last a while,
Yeah.
that people can absorb and be like, oh, okay, I see what he's doing, and then I can continue to work on other important things instead of focusing so much on, oh, what do I have to post today? I can be like, hey, I can take a step back and just work on some type of, whether it's music or promo or right mind, things of that nature, instead of always obsessing over what is my post for today on Instagram.
Yeah. So on that note about people having, like, having really short like attention spans, I would like to also like that has something to do with understanding your audiences, whatever it is that you are as a person, right?
Hmm.
So like as you said, like that's music, right? Because I've also noticed that it's like lately, I would say in the last maybe however long it's been, I can't really say exactly, more and more people are making music that is, it's shorter, it's easier to consume, and it's, you know, it's not that it's meaningless or it's not, it doesn't have as much material in it, but like people are making music that is so much easier to, to like understand
Hmm.
and digest. And I kind of I enjoy listening to music that, that has more substance to it than the surface. Like I enjoy actually sitting down and digesting a song. I'm like, okay, this line actually like is a reference to like a song on 3 albums ago about this and this, and then like I enjoy stuff like that. But you have to like back to like, like as an artist or whoever it is, as a person, that if you're creating content on social media and like your growth or whatever it, you could classify it as, is based off of how many likes or comments that you're getting to, in order to feel validated or feel like you're making progress.
Hmm.
You have to understand your audience. You have to understand like what are you looking, what are you trying to get out of this thing. That going back to understanding who you are as a person and taking care of yourself, because you put yourself in the right space to know that, you put yourself in the right space to understand what you want to do and how you
Hmm.
want to go about doing it, and understanding your audience, right? So I'm pretty sure there are people out there still making 4-minute songs because they know, if they're making it for the fan that is going to sit down and listen to it, and they're not worried about the algorithm or whatever it is that, the Spotify playlist or whatever it is. They know
Hmm.
that the person that is made for this is eventually going to find it, and they will actually go back and look at the catalog and listen to more and more and more, because the way how things like that, not necessarily ruin, but people that, if you actually just cater towards what's trendy, where it's like, all right, everyone's making like 2.5-minute songs, and I should do the same, right?
Hmm.
It's not going to be like, it's not going to basically be exactly what you want it to be. Like you kind of are forcing, it's like you you kind of are forcing success in a way.
Mm.
Like you basically, you're chasing a trend to succeed at something that you necessarily don't want to be doing. So you kind of, at the cost of success, you're dumbing down, or like I would say like shortening your songs, or basically not having super meaningful messages in your songs. Just so, all right, I need to make something that is 2 minutes and it's catchy and it's bumpy and it's easy to digest. That way I can end up on this playlist. But that might not be the thing that allows you to create things the way you want to create things.
Mm.
So understanding who you are as a person, understanding what you want to do and how you want to do it and who you're delivering it to, that is a very important thing. Because personally for me, when I was starting out to do photography, you think that once you have a camera and you know how to take photos and maybe edit, right? You feel like what you do is for everybody looking for photography, like for photo work, which is not true. You have to understand your market and know that, all right, this is what the wedding market looks like and this is what people look for. Since this is what I want to do, you take your time and understand how things work in that atmosphere, and do, and specifically like narrow things down. Like you cannot do like something that serves everybody. You can't do it. You can't, you can try to mix and match things here and there. Yes, it might work, but you have to niche down to what it is that you want to do and do it well. Because re- somebody else is going to do it better than you. And the more you try to cater towards everybody, sorry, uh, my mic moved. You have
You're
to
good.
basically narrow, yeah, you have to narrow down, you have to narrow down things, which means you have to really really understand what it is that you're doing, who's getting it, how you're delivering it, because everything matters. Like the more you narrow things down, the more everything actually matters. Because you have to really understand your audience. You have to understand, the delivery of what is, what it is that you're doing. Everything matters to like, to the, like, to the point, to the T, I would say. I just zoned out after I went off.
He just went on a 10-minute freestyle and then just forgot the next words.
No, but that's the reason
I
why I
feel
say
you
it. But
though.
that's the reason why I keep saying like this book. I honestly wish I could rename this book and call it Dear Artist, because this is like a love
That's
letter to
fire.
like a new artist. This is like what I feel like I should have called it, but I'm not gonna go. I'm not going to go back and like change the title of the book, because I do
Mm.
love the title of this book anyway. But I feel like this can help. Like these are things that don't, like, you worry so much about having a product when you're when you're making, like, let's say photography, because it's what I do again. You worry so
Yeah,
much about having the best photos, because okay, having good photos is good, because for me, after I got my camera gear and I got to the point where I could actually comfortably take photos and edit them, what now? I wasn't sure, okay, do I classify myself as this photographer that does this? I didn't even know that was a thing. I just thought like you just take photos and somebody's gonna call you and ask you to do a wedding and you do it, and you
right.
just maybe someone wants you can do that, right? But you do need to you need to narrow down the things that you do to target the right people.
For
Like,
sure.
because why would people that want to do, why would somebody that shoots sports, right? Of course you want to shoot weddings, but you're shooting sports and that's why you're posting. How do you expect people that are trying to find a wedding photographer to find you when you're posting sports photos? Like, those are cool, don't get me wrong, right? Like, you can have
Yeah,
some
yeah,
cool
yeah.
photos outside of what it is that you're doing, but when you narrow it down to like, this is what I want to do, and that's the work that I want to put out. That's something I never knew and I never understood until I met my friend Jordan. That, he's a wedding filmmaker, documentarian. He's my very very close friend, and he's taught me so much about like actually like narrowing things down. How to deal with clients. I've learned so much about what I do. He's not even a photographer, but like he's taught me so much of what actually, like, he has helped me skip the painful process of actually try to like smooth things out a little bit. It's still wavy. I'm not perfect, and I still lose clients just like everybody else.
Hmm.
And but ever since I've met him, I have booked more jobs. I've handled things a little bit better with clients. I have I've had more work done like the way I wanted to. I've not, like, I'm slowly getting to the point where I can actually turn down like jobs that I don't want to do,
Mm,
which is a good thing. I don't
for
necessarily,
sure.
that's also something else that I talk about in the book. It's like, well, are you going to, like, just because people are paying you to do something doesn't mean you actually have to. Do you really like? Maybe you do, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
And it's, yes, you could be making money, but in the long run, it's kind of going to hurt you a little bit, because if you don't want to do weddings and people are hiring you for weddings and that's all the work that you have, you'll probably like it and end up posting it because you like it, but it's going to attract the wrong audience. Going back to understanding, you need to understand the people that you're delivering your work to, the product, and how you deliver it is also important.
Yeah, I mean it's like when I do features for other artists. Just because somebody is willing to pay me for a feature doesn't mean that I'm necessarily going to jump on that song, because it may not be a song that I want to do. It may not be the person that I want to work with, or it could, speaking from an artist standpoint, you want to make sure that somebody is delivering the song in the way that you think would be up to par for,
The
putting
future.
out a song for the
Yeah.
future. Exactly. And that's my name on it. It's your name on it if you're doing some type of event or taking pictures for somebody that you may not have necessarily wanted to. So it's like, once it's put out and published, your name is forever on that. So what is that, in doing something like that, what does that say about you as a person? And I mean that as a general question. You know
Like,
what I mean?
yeah, like, like, are you asking me the question, or are
I'm
you
just saying,
basically,
in
are you just kind of like stating, okay, like, the choices you're making, are going to actually say something about who you are as a person, right?
exactly, exactly.
That's true. But it's you have to actually you have to you really really have to like understand yourself. Like I keep saying that, and forgive me
Hmm.
for repeatedly saying it. You
It's
have to,
important.
yeah, you have to understand yourself, because that's why, again, I bring up the being in the right place mentally, emotionally, taking care of yourself, and understanding like understanding the journey, like your own journey, and how you want to go about doing things and how you want to deliver things. Speaking on the same subject about understanding and knowing yourself, it's like, if when I started shooting weddings with Jordan, my friend that I just told you about,
Hmm.
I mean, he does know for a fact that I'm like somewhat stubborn, and I kind of just I want things to happen my way, and it has not always been that way. But realistically speaking, I would have probably been further in my career as a photographer if I could just shape up and just just do things the way I would say, like the photography community would actually do things. It's like, all right, dude, just gonna go shoot a wedding, just wear black, and that's what wedding photographers do. But it's like
Hmm.
I am so hooked on the idea of, I want to make sure that I do things my way, and I want to do them the way I want to do it my way. And I'm pretty sure, and I believe that the right people that I'm trying to attract will eventually come around. And you have to stick to your guns and just do things the way you want to do them, because as I said, the more you do things that you don't want to do, the more you're going to attract the wrong audience. You make shorter songs
True.
because the algorithm, the playlist algorithm is catering towards that. It's going to hurt you because you have to basically you have to dumb down your message, or make it shorter, and deliver a half-assed song that it's probably going to end up giving you some negative feedback from people that genuinely like listening to your music. Same thing applies to to photography, where I was, as I was saying, I I'm pretty sure I would be further in my career if I could just shape up and act right. But I can't do it.
Yeah. Don't we all?
Like the price that I'm paying is that, okay, you're gonna have to basically take the I would rather take the long way and have things happening the way I want them to, than cut through, take some shortcuts here and there for things for it not to be enjoyable. Because at the end of the day, there's really like no, at least what I believe, I don't think there's really like people treat success like it's a destination.
Oh, 100%.
It's
100%.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like people think that I'm going to wake up someday and I'm going to have this and this and this and done, which is true. When you have goals, that's what you need. You need goals, and to work towards a thing.
Yep.
It helps you like understand how far or how clear things are getting. That's a clarity like thing. But it's it's not like, the whole thing is about like you enjoying the journey of actually doing it. Like that's the success. Like doing it is the success. Like you could be broke and it could suck for you financially to like be struggling, but at the end of the day, you wake up and make music. Like that's what you want to do.
Hmm.
And if that's not like if that's not good enough for you, it's probably not the right thing for you to be doing in the first place. Like if you're able to go after whatever it is that brings out the best version of you, that's it. Like that's what it really is. That's the success. Like everything else, of course, it allows you, like the money, the accolades, and everything, it allows you, that is like proof that I'm doing it. But at the end of the day, you actually doing the thing that it is that you're trying to do, that is the success. Sleeping on your friend's couch, writing songs, um, driving out hours to go shoot a landscape under weather, like not working out, that is the journey. That's you doing it. The fact that you like it enough to actually just drive 2 hours away for things not to work out, the fact that you actually are willing to do whatever it is that it takes for you to do it, that is that is what I think success really is. Like you actually doing the thing that it is that you like to do, And everything else, I'm not promising you that it will happen, but that's also something else that I'm also learning. Where like, when do you know it's time to quit? When do you know maybe I should try something
Mm-hmm.
different? But it's all on you as a person to understand how much you can tolerate. The better you take care of yourself, the more you'll be able to tolerate going through the times when you're not financially stable to be able to do it full time. That's where a lot of people make the cut. People,
Mm-hmm.
it gets to the point where like you're not financially stable enough to keep doing it, that you would rather go get a full-time job than working part-time and doing this thing. It's not that you're not good enough. We all have different levels of pain tolerance, and some people get used to being home with their parents and in a full house, and they have a kitchen and all this, and where it's like maybe it's gonna get to the point where you need to just narrow down everything to actually have to the point where like it actually matters. It's like, I'm gonna get a studio because I can afford a studio. It would allow me to that will create time for me to be able to work a part-time job, which doesn't require as much to pay for for like a whole house, which
Mm-hmm.
means I'll have more time to work on this thing. And that is a very, very like crucial thing. Like, that's where a lot of people that's where a lot of people's tolerance ends right there. It's like, whatever it is that you're working on and where you want to be, the only thing between you and that is what you're willing to give in exchange for what it is that like in exchange for what it is that you want. So if you feel like working a part-time job and not being able to afford $7 coffees every day is something you cannot live without,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, then that's on you. Adjust your life, understand yourself, take care of yourself, understand what you're doing, how you're delivering it, and who you're delivering it to. There's so many important things, in the middle. Of course, I don't know everything, but like, at least for what has helped me understand is that just take care of yourself. Like, that's important. Everything starts making sense once you take care of yourself. You take care of yourself, everything slowly start making sense. It's like, all right, I'm happy enough, but I think I can actually like I can settle for a studio. I can I can settle for a job that I'm not really super hyped about, but I don't have to do it full time. It's paying me a little bit of money that I can afford to stay here, and I also have another 6 hours to work on this thing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's the journey.
I've always said I am in fear of, in a sense, reaching the end of, because the journey is the best part. The
Yeah.
journey is where all the fun, if you will, where all the fun happens. That's where all the best stuff happens. So for me to finally reach the end, or what people consider success, like, that is my fear. That is my worry, because it's like, then I essentially have nothing to look forward to, nothing to live to, nothing to look forward to, as far as the thing that I enjoy the most.
Um, it's actually different for me. I plan like, this is the way I've been thinking, like, in the last maybe year and a half. It's like, I want to get to the point where like I feel like I have done everything that I can possibly do with like this thing. And if age wasn't really like an issue, where like it gets to a point where like your body can't really take as much beating for you to be a professional snowboarder. I was
Hmm.
like, if I had the time in the world forever to do whatever it is that I want to do, it's like, I want to get to the point where like I do this photography thing, put my flag in the ground, and just go off and do something completely different. Maybe snowboard, or I don't know, make music, whatever it is that I could possibly do. Like,
Hmm.
the pursuit of like a thing is something that I really enjoy. It's just
Yeah.
difficult to chase so many things at the same time. It's still doable, but I just don't think it would really benefit me, like, towards what I'm working, because I've already put enough time into this for me to go chase something else. Like, I'm at the point where like I can't quit anymore. Like, let me just
Yeah.
say that. Like, it
Hmm.
gets to the point where it's not that I'm lucky enough to the point where like I can I can settle for that. But
Hmm.
if you're making music taking photos, I don't know, going to college for to get your education, whatever it is. Try to basically understand if this is something that you really want to do as you do it, because you sitting around and waiting for inspiration to hit you, like you have to go find it.
Oh,
So
100%.
yeah, so go keep doing whatever it is that you're doing and see how you'll, how much you're enjoying the process of doing it. And if you don't want to do it anymore, get out before it's too late. But at the same time, don't get out too soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
don't get out too
Keep
soon.
trying, keep pushing.
Yeah, you have to keep pushing.
Um, so we do have a couple minutes left, but I did want to get to just a
How long
question
has
that
this
we
been?
just about almost an hour.
Oh wow, time flies.
Yeah, time flies, and this has been super dope. Like I'm just sitting here absorbing everything because I'm like, yeah, I could use this, I could use this, I could use this. Okay, cool, great. All right, I'm gonna apply this to myself. I don't even care if nobody else listens to it. I'm enjoying the conversation and taking pieces as well. But I wanted to get into a quick question that was thrown in the chat from
Yeah,
my guy Red X Lion. He says, and obviously this is a question for you.
yeah.
Would you ever get into cinematography?
Yes, yes. That's something I've thought about. I so I shoot weddings with my friend. We have a wedding films company. It's called Now and Forever Films.
Okay.
So I have gotten a little bit better at shooting like video, but I am not that great at editing video. But I'm getting into it. I'm buying a video camera. I do have access to video cameras because, of course, we shoot wedding films. I do plan on putting out a small trailer for my book. I do plan on directing that. It's going to be like maybe a good 30, 40 seconds ish type of thing. And I
Hmm.
plan on shooting that myself and editing it myself and putting it out. And hopefully people like appreciate it. I don't think it'll be that great, but I enjoy people telling me what they think about
I think it'll be great.
my work. I hope it is great.
I mean, you seemed. I think part of part of it is just the fact of how comfortable you are with knowing who you are, where you are, what your goals are, and not that you don't care about what everybody thinks at the end of the day because you're just happy with the body of work. So I think even in just the completion, like that's already a success
Yeah.
in itself. And I think anything that is added on to that is only going to be that much better.
Um, that's true. But speaking of like caring, I need to say something about actually caring. Like, no,
Let's
no,
do it.
okay.
You're good. You're
So
good.
something about caring. It's like we live in a society where like, especially in like the hip hop like industry, like all like the entire industry of hip hop, like that's basically like hip hop is so big it's actually influenced nearly everything on the planet, right? But it basically like kind of promotes not giving a fuck about anything. Like it's actually cool not to
Hmm.
care. It's so
Yeah.
cool not to care, but it that is the worst thing that you can possibly like. That is the worst like self-inflicted damage you can possibly do to yourself. Like you
Oh,
have to care.
100%.
Like you have to care. It's the best way because there's a difference between not caring and understanding what you want to do. It's not that you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not that you don't
Exactly.
care. It's not that you don't care, but you know where to emotionally and physically like invest yourself. It's
Yeah.
so like that's something that people should know. Like you have to care so much about your thing for it to work.
And
Because
that's what I mean. Yeah.
there, I remember like going to high school with people that would never let off about how much they didn't care about whatever college they're going to. I mean, you have to basically tell the world, like shamelessly, you have to tell people, I want to make music, I want to be a photographer. You can't because you cannot like you cannot just you can't just I would say you can't just act like you don't care. Like deep down you do care, but people are ashamed to
For
fail
sure.
in front of other people. That way they can, whenever things don't work out, they can plausibly just be like, you know, I didn't want to go anyway.
Yeah.
The,
That's
the
the
truth is
excuse. That's the
yeah,
excuse.
the truth is like you applied and they just never accepted you. But you can't just say that you did. Maybe if you actually told everybody that you cared enough, that you wanted to go so bad, maybe you would have even worked harder to get into, to that college or whatever it is, that goal that you're trying to make. But it's because you're afraid to fail in front of people. You are going to fail. We all suck at the beginning of whatever it is that we're doing.
Yep.
So if you're starting out doing photography, the advice I'm giving to beginner photographers: go out there and enjoy not being good at whatever it is that you're doing. While you're not, while you're figuring things out, you will actually, like, you'll figure things out over the time, and the feeling of not being good enough will slowly fade away because you're learning. Accept the fact that no one picks up whatever it is that they're picking up and they're going to be good at it right away. It might
Hmm.
take you longer than it took somebody else. It might happen sooner for you. Just believe in whatever it is that you're doing and do it to the best of your ability, and just do that. Like, but you have to care. You have to care a lot. You can't just,
You do.
yeah, you can't just, you can't act like you don't care, because, like, there's also this thing where, like, people care, they act like they don't care. That's also another thing. But that's on you to make the decision of, that's the difference between how bad you want to make it and whatever it is that you're doing, and you kind of trying things out. That's also okay. You could try something out and maybe you don't care enough. But if you want to make it in whatever industry that it is that you're doing in your thing, you have to care enough, and you have to tell the world how badly you want to do it, because you'll push yourself harder to go do it, because you want to prove to yourself that you can do it. Not that you're trying to prove to the people in the outside world that you can do it, but it is much more meaningful when you prove yourself right than actually other people that you can do it. Because at the end of the day, it's all on you. People don't care enough to actually, like, come after you that things didn't work out. Like,
Hmm.
I'm, it's like, like those people that went to high school with, like, no one's gonna come up. Because no one's coming up to you telling you how much it sucks that you didn't get accepted. It's like they forgot
Yep.
about it.
Yeah.
But guess what? You didn't care enough. You didn't work hard enough to get it, and you didn't get it, and no one cared in the end that you didn't get it anyways. So you basically, like, lost, like, at all levels.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Pretty much. No, man, this has been super dope. I hate that an hour goes by so quickly, but like we mentioned off air, we'll definitely have to get together and another time and continue this super dope conversation, man.
All right. So right before we get off of this, I
Yeah,
actually wanted to say something quick.
let's do it.
I don't know who is actually going to be watching this, but I wanted to talk about, like, my milestone that I have right now. So the case that I have right behind me, like, wait, hold on, where's my hand? So this case right
Yeah,
here,
okay. Yeah.
this case right here is made by a company called Pelican.
Yep.
Pelican. I don't know if you know about Pelican.
Hmm.
They, oh, you know them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a lifestyle photographer, and I have always had this idea of trying to, like, lock down a partnership or, like, a big job with, like, a very big company.
Hmm.
Just like everybody else, we all have, like, dream clients, right?
Yep.
And um, I I invested so much of my time taking photos of Pelican products that were not paying me for, like, this. It's been, like, maybe almost 3 years now.
Okay.
This is a really good example of, like, if you want to do something, do it, and do it for you, and it doesn't matter how, like, you don't get to say how hard you want to work for whatever it is that you want. You kind of just do things repeatedly until it works out, or when you decide that it's not really something you want to do anymore. So I spent about 2 years of repeatedly taking photos of Pelican products that were not paying me, and I was just doing it, hoping that someday they will hit me up and be like, "Hey, man, we like your stuff. How about a partnership? How about a job? Whatever it is, right?" And I was doing it for a while, and then I watched a YouTube video where this guy says, the thing about thinking that you're going to lock down, like, your dream client or partnership, it's not going to happen the way you want it to happen. And here's the reason why. Like, Nike is not coming out here, like you could be the best, like, videographer, unless you have, like, a huge, like, massive social media following. Even that in itself, they're not going to reach out to, like, a one man team to, like, do something. Like
Yeah.
they're not going to do that. Like you could be so good, but they're not going to reach out to like a one man team to do it. And that really killed me deep down because like I had this hope that it's going to work out eventually. Like if I don't have to do it with anybody, I'll do it myself. But Danny has a lot of like dream clients that he's actually eventually locked down. And I took his advice. I was like, well, how about this? I can create things that I like and do it my way. Over the time, I'll meet people that I can actually form a team around, people that will allow me to expand on whatever it is that I have.
Hmm.
So, um, you're hearing it here first. I'm officially partnered with Pelican,
Dope.
and
Dope.
I'm going to be creating more Pelican stuff. Um, I'm so excited. I have a story about how the whole thing happened in the book somewhere. I'll probably do something on Instagram. I went so hard to try to get this partnership, and I don't really recommend someone doing this. Sometime last year, I got a tattoo on my chest, like in the middle of my chest, of the Pelican logo. That
Dope.
it wasn't necessarily to get their attention. It's like
Hmm.
I liked it I liked the product so much, and
Hmm.
that's all I created. And trust me, I understand that I looked kind of dumb or stupid doing it, but I liked it enough that I was willing to go through the humiliation to get what I wanted. And a few months, a few months later, they messaged me. They followed me on Instagram, and they messaged me. They were like, "Hey, we really like your work, and we should set up a Zoom call and work on something. You know, maybe a partnership. See where this thing can go." And it was it's by far like the biggest like thing I've done in my career so far. Like right now, I'm so
Hmm.
excited.
That's dope.
I, Jeez, that's loud.
There's a bike behind me.
Yeah, like I'll tell more about the story about this whole thing happened and how you can go about chasing your dream client. And it's not really guaranteed that they're going to hire you, but it can help you understand how, understand the journey of getting a partnership or a dream client. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But I highly suggest do not get a tattoo of whatever. Don't just I did it and it worked out for me. Great, but I don't recommend doing it. Hard work is also a part of like the equation, but I would say on this one, there's a little bit of luck that was involved. So it's like you can work so hard, but you can't. It's not really. You don't have to depend on like the luck of things happening. But I
Hmm.
went so far. I liked it so much, and I wanted this partnership to happen that I got a tattoo. That's how bad you need to want things. Not get a tattoo, but you have to want
Right.
something so bad. Where like I kind of just put off everything that I was doing, at least with my Instagram, since Instagram had stopped really meaning so much anyways for photographers. I was
Hmm.
like, well, I'm going to basically invest all my time and effort towards photographing for Pelican. They're not paying me anything, but I'm going to do it. And I don't necessarily think they actually gave me a partnership because I'm the best at what I do. They just appreciated my consistency.
That's what's important is the
Yes.
consistency. It's knowing that, especially especially with the fact of them not even paying you. Like you were
Yeah.
like, no, like I'm gonna keep doing this
Yeah.
because I care about the brand this much that I am willing to do this pro bono.
Yeah.
So it's like, imagine if we paid this guy or had some type of partnership of some sort. Imagine what he'll do then. If he's doing all this
Yes. Like,
for this, imagine what he'll do if we give him this. Okay, now what about the, hopefully down the road it expands further, but baby steps.
yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like if he's willing to do this, why not?
Yeah, but you need to want it so bad and do it, and you have to shamelessly do it and not worry about failing because you are going to fail. I mean,
100%.
if I spent 3 years photographing Pelican products, I'm pretty sure someone out there on my Instagram was like, "This kid has to have better things to do." Like, no, I'm serious.
I hear you. No, I hear you.
Like I've thought about it, and I was like, well, don't you think this is a little too much? But I was like, I actually enjoyed doing it so much that it didn't really feel like I never felt like it was actually really hurting me or in any way because I'm still doing what I like to do, like taking the photos that I want to take and working on my book and working on, like other things. But chasing your dreams like art, arts dreams, because I don't know how other industries go about doing things. It's a very lonely journey of you figuring out how you want to go about doing things, how, dealing with things not working out, how to adjust your life, your lifestyle, going about just basically every the steps towards making this journey a little bit more enjoyable, because it is going to suck at the beginning, but I'm making a book for a beginner slash entry level photographer that needs some sort of direction of understanding how to have a slightly less stressful journey towards chasing a client, partnership, whatever it is that you're trying to do with photography. I'm making a book for you. That's all.
Word, word. I'm sure they're definitely. I mean, I'm not a photographer, but I'm definitely excited to see what comes of that, and hopefully I can grab a copy when it's completed. Um,
Book is coming out September 17th.
Sweet. Keep me in the loop, but I'll definitely be on the lookout for that.
Oh
Um,
well,
sounds super exciting, super interesting, and obviously I love to see when people's long lived ambitions, as a part of their journey comes to some type of fruition and completion. That's super dope, man.
thank you so much. We should definitely stay in touch. I would like to talk more about like other, like, what else do you have another podcast aside from this?
This is the only one that I have.
Let me tell you something. I actually enjoyed having this conversation so much. I think if you're interested, we could start. We could like. Are you into gaming or anything like that?
A little bit. I do like
Okay.
some
Like,
typical Call of Duty and a
okay. Like,
couple
well,
other stuff.
having a whole gaming podcast would require more than playing Call of Duty. So we could
I
find
got you.
we could find like something that we actually both are into, because it would make it a lot easier to sit down and have a conversation about whatever it is. And we can make maybe an episode or two a month or something like that and see where it goes. But I really did enjoy talking to you, and if you're interested,
Same.
I've been waiting to make. I do have a podcast that I'm on already with a friend of mine, but I would like something outside of that. I would like to be a part of something else outside of that too.
Got you.
Variety. So let me know whatever it is that you're into. We could actually kind of add on to whatever it is that this is. But I did have a great time talking to you, and dear artist, I love you, and I'm making a book for you.
Definitely, man. No, this has been super dope. I know, even for just like I said before, like even just for me, the information that you have given has definitely helped me. I know it can definitely help a lot of other people, and this is exactly why we do Right Mind Wednesdays. So I appreciate your time and appreciate you being here and giving such great and valuable information for others to hear.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man. But we're just about time to close. Is there um, anywhere where people can kind of reach out to you, connect with you before we wrap up?
The best place to reach out to me is if you're looking for photo work, or just any, if you look. Actually, the best place I would say is just follow me on Instagram or shoot me a message on Instagram, Josh Kenani. And if you're looking for wedding work, I do have a company that I'm a part of where we shoot weddings. It's called Now and Forever Films. Just look it up. We're booking clients right now. Anywhere in the U.S., wherever you are, we're booking weddings throughout, where whatever time it is. Whether you live in Texas, California, Arizona, anywhere in the U.S., we can make it happen. And
Dope, dope.
that's at Now and Forever Films on Instagram as well. I'll have maybe I'll send you a link if that's okay with you. I'll send you a link
Yeah, of
for the
course,
page. That would be great if you actually help share that. But yeah, thank you
of
so
course.
much.
No, I really appreciate it. I'll definitely make sure to share that. I'll make sure that I'm follow. I'm not sure if I'm actually following them, but now that I know of them, I'll definitely
Yeah,
make sure to follow and obviously share any type of content. Make sure that it gets out to everybody because this is very important. Weddings never stop. and they're gonna need a photographer and a videographer to capture those special moments. So let's get y'all out there and get to work.
That's true. That's true. But I want to clarify. We only shoot films. We don't do wedding photography. We only
Oh,
do
okay, my fault.
wedding
My fault.
films. Yeah. No, that's okay. We only do wedding films.
Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
All
Gotcha.
right. Thank.
So yeah, appreciate you, man. This has been another great episode. My name is Jay Faith. Appreciate everybody that is tuned in. But until next time, this is Right Mind Wednesdays. We'll catch you next time. What's up?
Bye.